United Nations performs its various socio-economic and cultural goals through its various specialized agencies. Of these specialized agencies, one such is the UNICEF, or the United Nations Children's Fund, which is what we will be looking at in this lesson. But wait a second, if UNICEF stands for United Nations Children's Fund, where did the I and E go? Did the people at the United Nations forget how to spell? Well, in reality, UNICEF had a different name at the time of its inception, which got changed later to United Nations Children's Fund, as we will be seeing in a while. Now let's look at the logo of UNICEF. Do you see a mother holding up her child? And she is surrounded by a peaceful world, which is denoted by the globe and the olive branches. Thus, we can understand even before going into details that this particular agency has to deal with the welfare of the mother and child. Now, solving the dilemma of its name, at the time of its inception, UNICEF was known as the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. But later on, the international and the emergency went out and it simply became the United Nations Children's Fund, in which we can understand that not only was its name changed, but also its structure and functions. UNICEF was established on 11 December 1946 and became a permanent part of the United Nations system in the year 1953. The UNICEF has more than 200 offices in developing countries, with its headquarters at New York City, which is in the USA. Let us see how UNICEF is administered. 36 members are elected by the various member states who are a part of UNICEF, and these 36 members go on to form the executive board of the UNICEF, who meet thrice a year to review the various activities of UNICEF. Now, can you answer this question? The executive board of the UNICEF consists of how many members? Is it 26, 36, 40 or 32? The correct answer is 36. Now, what led to the creation of UNICEF? To understand this, we have to look at the world in the post-war situation, or the period after the Second World War. The United Nations was formed in this period itself, and this period saw the displacement of millions of women and children all across Europe and Asia, who now had to migrate and find new homes. The United Nations General Assembly convened and realized that an emergency exists which affects the needs of children, and thus the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, or UNICEF, was established by the United Nations General Assembly as an emergency fund to meet the needs of children in post-war Europe and Asia. Now, since this was an emergency fund dealing with an emergency, this also was supposed to be temporary, existing as long as the emergency also exists. Now, with time, the effectiveness of the UNICEF made its mandate much bigger, and by the 1950s, UNICEF started to address the long-term needs of children and women in developing countries everywhere. No longer was UNICEF only to deal with children, but also look into the matters of women. Why women? Because women are either mothers or who have the potential to be mothers. And thus, by protecting the interests of women, we also are protecting the interests of the next generation. And again, not only was UNICEF to deal with post-war Europe and Asia, but now had to deal with developing countries all around the world. This was an extension of the mandate of the UNICEF. Finally, when UNICEF started to function almost like an agency of its own, UNICEF was accepted as a permanent part of the United Nations system in the year 1953, when it was renamed as the United Nations Children's Fund, and it became a specialized agency of the United Nations. However, while this name was changed, its acronym stayed the same, and that is how UNICEF became the United Nations Children's Fund. So in a nutshell, we were able to understand that UNICEF aims to facilitate long-term aid and benefits to children and women in the developing countries. Over here we see a timeline of sorts, and we also can witness how UNICEF rapidly updated and expanded on its goals and aims. When it was founded in the 1940s, it was to deal with providing the children with basic disaster aid. But however, by the 1950s, UNICEF started to look at providing long-term aid to women and children. And by the 1960s, when it became a specialized agency of its own, it also started to look into preventing various diseases among children, such as polio. And by the 1970s, UNICEF's mandate had become expansive enough to even provide for an inclusive education model, which looks into the education of all children, including the ones who have special needs. Now, to smoothly function, UNICEF appoints various renowned personalities as Goodwill Ambassadors, who through their abilities, popularity and resources spread awareness on the behalf of the agency and also advocates for the rights of the children. In fact, India has its own UNICEF Goodwill Ambassador, and that is Priyanka Chopra, who is a renowned cinema personality. UNICEF also sells greeting cards, which act as a major source of generating revenue for its various activities. Over here you can see a few Christmas themed greeting cards by UNICEF, and in this particular picture you can see that at a UNICEF stand the greeting cards are being sold with the message that your greetings can help a child. Therefore, next time when you are out to pick a greeting card to wish your friend that he gets well soon, make sure that you buy a UNICEF greeting card so that along with your friend, many such young children can also get well soon. The UNICEF as an agency has managed to drastically reduce the mortality rate or the rate of death among children, and also has provided them long-term support and assistance to shape our next generation. We will be looking at exactly what constitutes long-term support when we discuss the various functions of the UNICEF which it performs to achieve such milestones. UNICEF also won the Nobel Peace Prize, a picture of which you can see over here, in the year 1965, and also won the Indira Gandhi Peace Prize in the year 1989, which recognizes the various services offered by it to promote the health and well-being of children all across the world. Therefore, in this particular lesson, we saw the structure and also the various achievements of the UNICEF. In the subsequent lesson, we will be looking at the various functions which are exercised by UNICEF to achieve such milestones. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers, or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it is rewarding too. So register for free now.